Hey Jim, it is Michael Franti here, and I think you get the award for the coolest request ever on Cameo. Um, I have not really sat down and talked about Disposable Heroes in a really long time, but I did re-listen to the record recently and just heard in it how much things have really not changed all too greatly in the world, unfortunately. And I really appreciate the fact that you think it's one of the greatest records you've ever heard. And in answer to your question, would I ever do a part two? Uh, that record was done with a number of people in collaboration that I don't know if it'll ever happen again in that way, but I could see myself doing a record that was similar in terms of just like its political voice in the music. But the music itself, I worked with this guy named Mark Pistol, who's in this band Consolidated, Charlie Hunter, who went on to becoming one of the greatest jazz guitarists ever. If you're not still keeping up with Charlie, follow him, find his music, Charlie Hunter. Just look up Charlie Hunter guitarist. He plays 8-string guitar, and he's just phenomenal. He really taught me so much about the power of not just words, but melody and combining with chords and rhythm. He's an incredible friend to this day. And Rano C, who was the Chinese brother who was a dancer on stage, kind of the hype guy, but he also used all the industrial tools, the grinders, the sparks, all the metal instruments. That was a big part of what we did. One of the reasons, or the name Disposable Heroes of Hiphoprisy came from the fact that as African American youth, our role models were always athletes and entertainers. And they both had like a short shelf life, as an athlete, maybe, 6, 7 years in the professional leagues or whatever, and then they were kind of thrown onto the scrap heap. Same with entertainers that have their moment in the limelight and then they were thrown away. So I wanted to just make the statement that as African American people, that it was important for us to have heroes and leaders who were in careers outside of just athletics and entertainment. And ironically, I was a basketball player in college and dreamed of being in the NBA, and then went into music after that. So I kind of did both of those things. And so that's why we called ourselves Disposable Heroes. And Hiphoprisy was obviously about the hypocrisy that I was hearing in hip hop at the time, of people wanting to be conscious, but hip hop was really changing and shifting from this consciousness into just being about gangster rap and so many misogynist things, homophobic things. And so I wanted to make a statement, and that's why I wrote the songs, for example, like Language of Violence, about a gay bashing incident, and just wanted to try to keep that consciousness in the music. One of the best moments for me ever, musical moments ever, was being able to tour with U2. And we opened for U2 for about 35 shows, and we went from just driving around this little punk rock van to suddenly opening up for U2 in giant stadiums, and they'd use our song Television, the Drug of the Nation as their opening song. They'd play the video and then they'd walk out on stage. And so one night Bono said to me, hey, after the show, why don't you guys fly with us to the next city, because we know you guys having a really long drive in your van, and we're going to Kansas City. And so we get on the plane, and I got each one of the guys in the band a small gift. And the gift that I gave Bono was this wooden cross, because I knew he was Christian. I gave him this cross. And I said, here, Bono, and it was wrapped up in this beautiful Ethiopian fabric. It was an Ethiopian cross. And I said, do you know what this cross is? And he says, yeah, I do. It's the Ethiopian Orthodox cross. And the reason that I know that is because I spent time in Ethiopia. So I said, tell me about it. He said, well, when after Joshua Tree had become this huge hit, we became a household name, and I really felt like weird about it. We'd been this kind of underground band. Everybody knew who we were, and I was having a hard time adjusting to that. So he said that he decided he was going to go to Ethiopia, which was in the midst of this famine and war, and he was going to dig wells. So he went there with his wife, and the first day he's toiled in the hot sun till his hands are blistered, his back was sunburned. He goes and lays down in this hut at the end of the day, and he's feeling really good about himself, like, wow, I did something really good to help humanity. And the leader of the village asks him to come to this meeting that night. The whole community is there. And he looks at Bono and he says, Mr. Bono, we are so appreciative that you came all the way here from Ireland to help us out with our wells. However, you set us back 3 days while we watched you fumble with a shovel. And we don't need you to dig our ditches. And Bono was really deflated. He was like, oh man, what did I do? Now I fucked this up too. And he said, but we, even here in Ethiopia, know about you too. And we know that you are a songwriter. And what we want from you is to write songs. So he did. He wrote a song that was about using condoms, another song that was about always boil your water. Another song was called Don't Put Cow Dung on the Baby's Umbilical Cord, which is a practice that they've been doing, but because of the water and everything, there's new infections that weren't happening before. And so his wife made up dances with the kids, and they taught these songs to all the kids in the village, and they became part of the history of the village. And so Bono looked at me and he said, you know, never underestimate the power of a song. Never underestimate the power of even a pop song to help people get through their life. And that really inspired me to think about music in a different way. And that it wasn't that I needed to just write political songs or angry political songs calling out the system all the time. That there is a very important place for all of us within that. And especially we see it now in the world. It's really important to have that voice and to be able to vent in that way. But there is a full myriad of human emotion that is sometimes lost if we only focus on that one aspect of it. And so over the years, my music has evolved and has changed, and I write songs about all kinds of different things. I want to play one for you right now. And it goes like this. If you ever lay awake at night, wondering if we'll be alright, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. If you're sitting at the kitchen table, counting up your bills to pay, I'm on your side. Side. If you got some news today, doctors telling you to pray, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. And if you feel the pounding fear, the flashing lights are in your mirror, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. Can you hear me? Is your heart beating like a drum? Can you hear me? I don't care where you come from, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. I'm on your side. I'm on your side. One nation under God is turning into one nation under the influence of one drug. Television, the drug of the nation, breeding ignorance and feeding radiation. Television, the drug of the nation, breeding ignorance and feeding radiation. I really enjoyed this, Jim. Thanks a lot for asking. Peace.